Hey everybody, in this video we are going to talk about boring gear I use all the time. Stockpiling synths, drum machines and groove boxes is fun, but today we will shed a light on how to get the most out of them using more utilitarian audio equipment, how I implement it in my setups, discuss alternatives and maybe get to the bottom of why boring, for lack of a better word, is good.
AudioPilz is in no way affiliated with or sponsored by any of the manufacturers mentioned here, which is a shame. If you want to help me make unbiased videos like this one, feel free to click one of the links below before shopping and support me on Patreon.
BALUN. Most people who own more than one piece of music gear might have encountered the nemesis of all audio people, ground loops. We could talk about the roots of this evil for hours, but the most important thing is how to make them go away. The iBoxes are great for this, but more often than not they are designed to be connected to a preamp, certainly not ideal for many setups. The BALUN, on the other hand, has jacks on both sides. It can be used with balanced and unbalanced signals. It is built like a tank, needs no power supply, and the only UI element is a ground lift switch. There is, you guessed it, a more affordable alternative made by B, which is less rugged and doesn't have the aforementioned ground lift switch. SPL2 Control, the audio device I literally use the most. It has its flaws, the headphone amps are completely busted after 15 years of constant use, but having a big knob to adjust listening volume is one of the most important elements of my workflow. I use it to manage 2 pairs of monitors and a mono speaker and have become so used to this setup that I can tell how loud my mixes are without having to look at an LUFS meter. Yes, it's quite a chunk of money, especially for a piece of gear notorious for being half broken, but affordable passive controllers always messed with my stereo image, which reliably led to cortisol spikes. Feel free to use cheaper alternatives if you are less picky than me in this regard, but there are reasons why people spend even bigger bucks on brands like Cranesong. RME Digiface USB. As some of you might know, I have a dark past working as a professional audio engineer, and believe me, you don't have time to mess around with audio interfaces in that profession. Nothing's perfect, but the manufacturer that let me down the least in that field is RME. I started with the legendary Hammerfall DSP multiface in the early 2000s, used a variety of fire and baby faces and ended up with this Digiface USB a few years back. It is bus powered, the drivers are rock solid, and I like the low latency mixer, obviously designed for old guys in lab coats. Analog connectivity is limited to a single headphone out. Everything else is hooked up via ADAT light pipe. This might be a limitation to many, but it allows for 32 inputs and outputs using whatever converters I have lying around. Great if you want to record drum machines with multiple outputs. Many audio interfaces can be used as standalone converters if you flash the internal mixer. I used the aforementioned old Firefaces for this successfully, but also bigger Focusrite Scarletts or modern devices like SSL18 do the trick flawlessly. However, I just recently switched to a Ferrofish Pulse 8AE. Funnily enough, this is the 4th product on this list designed by a German manufacturer. These ADDA converters are affordable, they sound great and, most importantly, have a nice display with meters. Keep in mind that standalone converters like this one usually don't come with preamps, so it's mostly for people who want to integrate an analog console and/or outboard gear. My Midi Tools. Midi is ancient, straight from the 80s, slow and struggling to keep up with the challenges of modern music production. Sounds a lot like me. However, there are specialized tools to work around the limitations of the standard. In addition to my trusty Mo2 Microlight, which is basically just a normal MIDI interface, I use an ERM Multiclock to tackle the horrors of sloppy MIDI clocks and manage setups combining hardware and software sequences. you can generate a sample-accurate MIDI clock based on an audio impulse, shift timing of up to 4 MIDI outputs back and forth, introduce shuffle, and turn the clock outputs on and off without having to stop the master clock. Expensive? Yes, but it's the only product I know that combines all these features. The manufacturer is called Floating Point now. Frequent viewers of this channel will be familiar with the Midi Solutions Quadra Through, which just turns one MIDI signal into 4. I'm a big fan of Retrokits Midi Tools for more or less everything else. RK002 lets you run complex applications on a smart MIDI cable, including signal conversion, Euclidean sequencers, and even retro visuals, while RK006 is a super compact MIDI interface boasting many additional standalone features and has become my go-to MIDI host device. Yamaha HS-5. Yamaha monitors with wide speaker cones have been a studio staple for decades, and the affordable active HS monitors are yet another integral element of my setup. Although they are not always fun to listen to, they help me to keep mixing mistakes to a minimum, mainly because I know them inside and out. I used both HS50 and HS5. They basically sound the same to me, and I'm pretty sure that whatever pair of monitors you dedicate a godless amount of time to will do the trick for you. I also have a pair of old Mackie speakers with 8-inch woofers which sound like a 90s club PA and help me to work around the utter lack of bass of the Yamahas. Neutrik jack couplers, most probably not hi-fi, but whenever I want to connect two mono jack cables, these are a godsend. They also increase the comment count on social media because people want to know what it is. Zoom MS50G, comfortably nestled between ultra-cheap micro pedals manufactured by random OEM brands and high-end stuff like Eventide and Strymon, Zoom Multi-FX pedals provide processing for the people. Bread and butter algorithms are accompanied by more sophisticated sonic garnish like shimmer reverb, and best of all, you can create complex FX chains which can be saved and recalled easily. I have many more specialized and objective better sounding FX. This is the one I use the most. SM7B, my go-to voice-over microphone, has gained a bad reputation for being featured in far too many questionable podcasts, but even before the dawn of social media you could find these in many radio stations and recording studios for a reason. They work for almost every voice, regardless of gender, age and worldview. They can't be clipped or overdriven, room acoustics aren't that big of a deal when recording, and they minimize plosives by design or by using the even bigger pop filter. It does, however, come with two limitations. Output levels are extremely low, so you either need a great preamp or one of these phantom-powered inline boosters, and there's always at least one microphone that sounds better than the SM7B for certain applications. You just have to find out which one. M-Audio Oxygen 8 Mark II. This one is my main MIDI controller for 20 years now. It has that signature European smile and it mirrors my keyboard playing skills perfectly. My precious. Hope you enjoyed this little catalog of audio production boringness. Presumably you already started to fill those virtual shopping carts with non-synth goods, so make sure you clicked one of the links below to support the channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment and enjoy a huge library of videos, tracks, jams, sample packs and other AudioPilz and Bad Gear content over at Patreon. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Thanks to all my patrons for supporting the channel, and welcome to the It Doesn't Really Matter Anymore Anyway shoutouts. Tier 4.
Different creatures.
Clever, we live by a rap, we live by
Tier 6.
Another 30,000.
Again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. See you next month.